Welcome back to Bad Attitude C10. Today I'd like to go over the test of our dimmer switch that we picked up from a company that we also got a fuse panel from called Haywire and Company. Now these guys are here in the United States and their products are USA made. And the item that I'm going to show y'all right now is their dimmer control part number 1958. I ended up buying this because, as you all know, I do not have a left foot. So the 67 C10s actually had a dimmer switch that was on the floor. So what he has created is this little electronic latching relay that hooks up directly to your harness, and all the wires are labeled for your high beam, your low beam, your dimmer input power, and it comes basically with everything you need. Now guys, I originally was just going to use a regular relay, but by the time I bought a toggle switch and a regular relay and wires to kind of address the issue, this was a no-brainer because I mean it cost $40 and I couldn't even get all the components to make one for myself for that kind of price. So again, included, it shows you all the diagram for wiring it up, and it tells you, the high beams, the low beams. The dark blue is your trigger wire, and the light blue is power from your headlight switch. Other than that, you'll run a ground, and then the button on the other side of your trigger wire will go to ground as well. They even include this nifty little momentary switch that you could use. Now, I'm opting to use this large mushroom-headed momentary switch that is kind of a leftover part from back in my days of working on aerial equipment, and it just so happens to fit my dash bezel, so I think that'll be kind of trick. So let's go over how to hook this up. So I'm going to start by going ahead and hooking a ground wire up to the headlight that we're going to use for this demo, and it's going to go on the ground lug of the pigtail off of the headlight. Now this will go to the supply wire that we tie into the power supply battery, and we'll show that here in a minute. Now this is the normally open switch I was talking about, and what we're going to do is I'm going to use this brown wire to hook up to the battery powered ground, and it'll just go in this normally open contact. Now I did not put a solderless connector or anything on it because, again, dude, this is a bench test and there's no use in wasting stuff like that. So we just strip back the wire and we're going to screw it straight in, and it's clamped, so it'll be fine. So it's going to have good contact and everything like that. Now on the other side of the momentary switch, we will hook the dark blue little trigger wire, and this will be what's responsible for making the actual relay latch. And once you push the button and let off, it's going to hold and stay in that position. So even if you turn your power off, this little relay is going to remember where it was. So if it was flowing through and the low beams were on, that's where it's going to be. If the high beams were on when you turn the power back on, it's going to be on the high beam setting. So you just push the button. Every time you push the button, it changes and latches the opposite way. So again, the other side of this button, we're going to hook directly up to the ground side of the battery. Up next were the tan and green wires going for our low beam and high beam on our headlight pigtail. After those were installed, the next step would be the light blue dimmer power wire. Now normally this wire would be hooked up to your headlight switch, but since we don't have a switch here for our headlights, we're just going to take the relay power wire, which is the light blue, and it is marked dimmer power, and we're going to go to a jumper cable off of our battery. So I'm going to make believe I flip the switch when I hook the other side of this jumper cable up to the lead, and then we should have our headlight powered up. Alright guys, I'm going to slide my momentary switch over here and go ahead and pick this headlight up and show you that it is on. So I don't blind anybody, I'm going to go ahead and point it at the wall, and then using the momentary switch, every time I depress the button, it will go from low beam to high beam and so on and so on. So we're going to go ahead and here you go. Every time I depress the button and release it, you can notice that it switches. Now here is what it looks like at an angle. I'm not going to try not to point it directly on the camera, but just so y'all can see, it is cycling. Easy peasy and an easy install. Until next time.